Kaiju no Kami here at Colorado Anime Fest 2023 with
Cruellica Kain.
And we are interviewing
Griffin Burns. What's up, everybody?
For those who might not know what you do,
Sure.
What do you do?
I'm a voiceover person / musician. I voice Muichiro in Demon Slayer. Can't wait for season 3. Doppio in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Akira in Devilman Crybaby. Tadano in Agretsuko. Ryota in Kakegurui, Colt Grice in Attack on Titan, and probably my most well-known role is Child in Genshin Impact. So,
one of my students, because I teach 6th grade, every
cool.
day when she learned that I'd be interviewing people, she's like, "Do you know if you're going to be interviewing Griffin Burns? Do you know if you're going to be interviewing Griffin Burns?"
Yeah.
I don't know yet. Next day, she comes in, "Did you hear if you're going to be interviewing Griffin Burns?" Holly, I won't know until the day of the convention. So she stopped for like 2 days asking me. Friday comes along, "Do you know if you're going to be interviewing Griffin Burns yet?" "I don't know." "Well, the convention's next week. How do you not know?" And then all this week, she stopped again, and then she's like, "Have you heard yet?"
mm-hmm.
No. And then right after I had, because this week we had parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah.
Right after her parents left their conference, I got the email saying, "Griffin Burns is going to be at 7 o'clock.
Awesome.
And I'm like,
you
cool.
can finally deliver the good news,
But
I guess.
her and her family came in today, so she was excited because they got to meet you.
That's awesome. That's very
And
cool.
I know you mentioned that there's a lot of people like that. Well, not like that, but a lot of people are so excited.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned prior to this, I didn't know anything about Genshin
Yeah.
Impact because apparently I just play console games and it's not on the console. Hopefully it will get there at some point.
Yeah.
But the first thing that comes up on the search for Genshin Impact is what the heck is Genshin Impact?
Mm-hmm.
So in your elevator pitch, what would you say Genshin Impact is?
I would say Genshin Impact is like Breath of the Wild meets anime, open world explorative game. I don't know. I could probably say it better, but yeah, it's think of like anime meeting Zelda. That's kind of what it is.
Really cool.
Yeah.
See, now we have to play it.
I'm a huge open world fan, so that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sounds up my alley.
I grew up with Ocarina of Time. It's one of my favorite games. It definitely has that vibe to it.
Yeah, I grew up on Metroid and Legacy of Kain.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So with all of the different characters that you have had the opportunity to play, as well as that you're continuing to work on that you probably won't be able to announce, which is certainly fine. I understand NDAs.
Sure. Yeah.
How do you feel like you've evolved as a voice actor with all of these different opportunities?
Well, I can kind of just tell you how my career has shifted. When I started voiceover, I mainly started in commercials, actually. So, and I still do them today. In fact, somebody came to my booth and was like, "Do you do a Colorado credit union spot? I swore I heard you on the radio today." And I go, "Actually, yeah, that is me." So, like, I have a Denver agent, actually. And I'm just thinking about this now, but I'm repped here in Denver, and I've done a bunch of commercials in this area. But when I started my career, that's mainly what I was doing is commercial stuff. After a little while, I started booking some video games, and then I had a director I worked with on World of Final Fantasy. I think it was a mobile game, and the director said, "You got a great voice for like young protagonist in like anime. You could do dubbing." And I was like, "What is that all about?" And I didn't think much of it, but then maybe a couple of years later, someone again, an agent, was like, "You know, you would do really well if you did anime." And so I hit up this guy that had this director and said, "Hey, I think I'm ready to try that dubbing thing you were talking about." And then I started doing some, and so yeah, it like the anime and the video games kind of were an addition onto this commercial voiceover thing I was doing, and now I have integrated this social media presence with it, and it just seems to keep growing. So I feel like if you have like a pie chart, you know, I've got the voiceover work I've always done, which is like my tried and true stuff, and I've got the anime and the video games, and now I got this chunk that's the convention appearances and the social media. So it just seems to be growing, and it's kind of cool to now people recognize your face with the voice. it wasn't like that before. So
I can only imagine how that has changed, just because you do have a great social media presence, because
Thank you.
I've seen a lot of your covers of different songs, just your commentary like on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. What got you into being more present on social media where some of your peers may not be the same?
Sure. So it kind of all started during COVID. I can't remember the exact month and date, but it was, I think, in 2020. Karina, who voices Paimon in Genshin Impact, they told me that I should join TikTok. And they said, there's a lot of fans out there that would love to see you on TikTok. And this sounds kind of cliche, a lot of people say this, but at the time, I actually did think, I was like, I think I'm too old to be on TikTok. I really thought it was just for like tweens and teens and stuff.
Sure.
So I was a little uncomfortable with the idea, but I was on vacation and I made an account and I just did like an intro video like, hey everybody, I'm Griffin Burns, I voiced this character and this character and this character. And within 24 hours, I went from 0 followers to 42,000, something like
wow.
that. And that gave me the awareness of like, okay, there are people that were hoping that I would join TikTok. Karina was right. And so it kind of started to grow from that point. But before that, didn't have much of a following and didn't post very much. And when I did post role announcements, I'd get like 30 likes or something, or a couple of new followers. But now it's really different.
You're becoming a social media influencer.
Yeah, apparently. I never thought I'd use those terms, but I think that's probably accurate now. Yeah.
So what type of things do you like to do outside of voice acting?
Sure. So my biggest passion outside of voice acting is music. I've always been a musician. I actually moved to LA with the aspirations of success in music and playing in a band. And what's really cool is because my voiceover career has really taken off and it's full time, and I now am back into my music. I have the means and the flexibility to put energy into that again. So like this past week, we did like 6 rehearsals in a row because we performed on Thursday night, the night before I came here, with my band, New Girlfriend. That's what we're called. It's a Scott Pilgrim reference, if anyone's ever seen that movie.
Yep.
Is that your new girlfriend or your new girlfriend?
I love that movie.
So that's where it comes from. So that's my biggest hobby / passion outside of voiceover. And then, all the other usual things. I hang out with friends and cook occasionally, and what else do I do? I read or I'll write. I don't know. I'm getting older now. I'm like starting to watch the news.
That's a rabbit hole that's sometimes scary.
Yeah. So like lately, I'm like I just get my news on like YouTube. I'll go on YouTube and just type in news, live news, and just watch whatever channel has it. Like,
oh yeah.
now I'm getting boring. No.
When you start adulting and news comes into the placement, you're like, okay.
I actually give a crap about like what's going on now.
Oh, that is a hard place to be. I understand completely.
Mid-30s. That's where it's at now.
They did what now and where?
Yeah.
What?
Well, there's always something crazy going on in this world.
Just wait until you hit 40, then you come to the point where you actually do envision what other people say of, get off my lawn, you kids today.
Yeah.
I learned, so you have a few more years, but
yeah.
You kids today and your ability to just stream an anime.
Well-
Back in my day, we had to go and find a VHS tape and pay $30 for 2 episodes.
Already, I mean, there's like a little bit of a, like, cause I am on TikTok, so I'm in tune with what the kids say these days, but some of the terms I'm like, what does that mean? Like, people using bet and like fire and gas and all these things. And I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel a little old.
Oh, don't worry. We had a class at my job where one of my coworkers just went through all the new terms as a Gen Zer for all of us older people who had no clue what was going on.
That's so based.
It's so based.
So
I'm dead.
You're so mid.
You're mid.
I just remember Raise the Roof. I'm good with that.
Talk to the hand. How about that? Psych.
So for music, I love music. I was a band geek.
Cool.
I always reference the American Pie movies, like that time at band camp. So what kind of, because now I have to listen to, I've only seen your TikTok covers, but what kind of music do you play?
So we play pop rock / alternative rock.
Oh, nice.
I would say like my influences growing up were all the pop punk bands. I was really into Blink-182, Sum 41, Green Day, some emo bands, et cetera. I was also really into 90s grunge. I like Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana and I always get the two confused. Soundgarden or Savage Garden. I think Soundgarden.
Yes, Soundgarden.
The grunge one. Yeah.
Black Hole Sun?
Yeah, for sure. And Hole and just a bunch of bands like that. So, and my bandmate, fortunately, we have like very similar taste. And so now we like to describe ourselves, humbly speaking, as like a mix between Weezer and the Beatles, because Weezer with like the pop kind of alternative rock, and the Beatles because we have so many harmonies. A lot of our music is like two male vocals down the middle harmonizing.
So kind of like John and Paul from the Beatles.
Yeah, or Simon and Garfunkel, but with like an alternative rock feel.
And I love how you say Weezer, because I've always been a fan of Weezer. One of my favorite songs is still Hash Pipe.
Yeah, I sing that at karaoke.
I don't sing at karaoke because most people probably wouldn't like it, but I love those references, and having grown up on the Beatles, you have the Monkees and other bands that were fairly similar in that range. I like that idea, because harmonizing, I think, is a great way to connect the music and the lyrics together.
Yep, totally.
Now, do you collaborate with your bandmates to write all of your songs, or what do you do?
Totally, absolutely. Sometimes there's instances where one of us will lead a project where I'll write 90% of the lyrics, or he will. But oftentimes we're bouncing back verses like, hey, what do you think of this? And then, he'll write something and send it my way, and, it's a very 50-50 split. It just depends on who's, feeling inspired by that song. If something happens in your life that you want to write about, obviously that's going to be your tune. But the beauty of it, the beautiful thing about it is that even if it's primarily your song or that you wrote, we still come together on the melody and fine-tuning little things like maybe word adjustments, and so the end product sounds like us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Even if it's primarily written by one of us.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to do it, because you all have different passions and ideas that you probably put into it.
Yeah, totally.
So you said you were part of a Disney Channel series. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I was new to LA and I was sort of floundering, trying to figure out my life and what I would do, I did some extra work. And so if anyone doesn't know what that is, that just means you're in the background, in TV and film. Well, one day, I had only been living in LA a few months, and I got a request to be on Disney Wizards of Waverly Place. And it was a special day, because normally when you do background work, it's a cattle call, like hundreds of people. But today I showed up on set, and it was like 4 of us. And I'm thinking, that's odd. They only picked 4 extras. And the next thing I know, production came to us and was like, hey, do you all feel comfortable dancing? And I was like, well, I'm not really a dancer, but I'll try. And then they're like, okay. Next thing I know, they hand us each co-star contracts. And a choreographer comes to set teaches us this dance moves, and the next thing you know, I'm legitimately in the episode, and it helped me get in the union.
Absolutely.
So what was cool is because I was paid under the AFTRA contract, and the way it was at the time, AFTRA and SAG were split. So because I worked that job so early on, 12 months to the date after that gig, I was eligible to join SAG. So that, being on Disney Wizards of Waverly Place, was my ticket into getting into the union. But I got some screen time. I got paid as a union actor, and it was just a really special opportunity. I got to, talk and sit next to Selena Gomez and David Henry, and it was really cool. And when I was 23 at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna be famous. I was like, this is easy. I just moved here and I'm already on a Disney show. And man, did I have a lot to learn. It was not easy. I had some serious beginner's luck. I also booked my very first voiceover audition. So between that and the Disney thing, I just thought, I'm gonna rock. I'm a rocket. I'm taking off. But it took many more years of grinding and auditioning, and I worked as a valet and did all these other things, and then eventually things did start to take off. Mm-hmm. So I did start getting where I wanted to go, but it wasn't like immediate,
I would be jealous if it was, but at the same time, I'm jealous that you had an opportunity to be on a Disney show.
It was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. There was a live audience.
Oh, wow. So it's still in the days of live audiences.
Yeah, there's a live audience. It was a full week thing where you have rehearsal, and then on a Friday they bring in a live audience, mm-hmm. and they shoot the whole thing. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And they even called it, at the end there was the announcer would call each actor out, so-and-so playing such and such. And I think they totally said the wrong name for me, but I still ran out. Playing Delinquent Elf number 2, come on out. Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So if you could have one song to describe you, what would it be?
One song to describe me? Oh man. That's so hard. Lyrically, or just a feeling, a vibe?
Whichever works for you.
I want people to check out our music, so I'm gonna say Save the Date by my band New Girlfriend has a very nostalgic feel, and it tells a story, and I feel like that represents me well. I wrote it primarily, and there's something bittersweet about the music, and I love that. I just like that sort of, that tension between it being kind of upbeat, but then also having a sadness to it.
I like that. No, because I've always gravitated towards songs like that have had a meaning, mm-hmm. because sometimes there's a lot of great music. There's decades upon decades of it.
Endless.
But having a meaning or having something that makes you feel emotion is always awesome.
Yeah, I gravitate towards that.
Now, where can someone new to your music find New Girlfriend or any of your songs?
They're all over. They're on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily Spotify is probably the best place to find it, but literally any streaming service has our music. Amazon, all these other services with odd names like Deezer, and I don't know what they're called. But just look on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever. Yeah.
And what social
YouTube.
media links can people find you at?
Sure. So for the band, just search the username New Girlfriend or New GF. And then for me, most of my handles are my Griffin Burns, which I thought was funny. And then I think one of them, for Twitter, it's still at the Griffin Burns, because I tried to change it to my Griffin Burns, but somebody already took it or something.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
just look up Griffin Burns, you'll find it.
Any final thoughts and words of wisdom for our viewers?
I mean, if you're trying to pursue voice acting, I would say go for it. Design your world, like create your schedule so that you have the time and energy to pursue, what you really want to do. Sometimes that means working a night job or learn to be the best at your craft, take classes. And that goes for any kind of artist. But yeah, I don't know. Thank you for watching this episode, and I hope that it put a smile on your face. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I didn't know if we were gonna do a cross.
Until next time, bye.